So hello guys, my name is Pavel Trupala from Unity3D.com, and today we will be looking how to create this skybox here in Blender. And after finishing these 6 textures, I will show you how to import a skybox here in Unity3D. So I hope you will learn something, and let's go do it. Basically it all comes down of how to create these 6 textures you can put on your skybox. So it's quite easy, simple way here in Blender. If you add a cube like this, and then when you add a new material, switching to texture, add a new texture. Here the type could be set to environment map. If you've got environment map here, you will be able to see these settings and just switch your environment map to static, and mapping will be cube, and viewport object is our cube. And this cube now, when you render the scene, will have projected all the environment around on these 6 faces. After that, you can choose here from this little menu to save your environment map to a single file, and then slice it up to 6 textures and do whatever you want to do with it. So if I just randomly put here some stuff like cylinder, for example, some monkey here, I don't know, like that. There's a few monkeys around, and say UV sphere like this. Then I just change the sky, add some stars, make the size like 0.1, and when I press F12 now, you could see there quickly was showing the textures for the skybox. So right now, when I'm selecting, if I select the cube and switch to the texture, again here you can see you can save your environment map. So I will create the directory and call it skybox test Blender. Okay, so I will split up my view and I will show it to you in the image editor. Skybox tutorial 2. Okay, so here you can see basically 6 cubes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When you slice them up, then you will have your texture for your skybox. Right now the skybox texture does have resolution 900 by 600 pixels, so each square here will have 300 by 300. So that means that resolution here on the side, if you do want your skybox, for example, each face 1024 pixels, then you have to double the resolution here. So 1024 multiplied by 2 means 2048. So another good thing to know is when you don't change on your scene quite much, then when you re-render the scene again by pressing F12, then you save your environment map again. Test 2. Then you will see that quite nothing changed here on the sky map, because you just need to clear the environment map. It was cached. So when I clean it now, do the re-render, you can see much clearly there was some other rendering too. And now if I save my map again here, say test2, delete, open, test2. You can see the resolution is much higher, 3072 by 2048. So the images here are sliced this way. On the left side you have right one, on the top you have back, left, bottom, top, front. So this will be very useful when you will slicing up the images. You can name them well, and that's basically the whole process of creating or rendering a skybox here in Blender. So right now let me switch to new scene like this. I will again enable my screencast key. Okay, start display, and let's create a new skybox. So I will be painting nebulas, as you have seen in the previous, I will be painting nebulas. So the technique I use is basically creating again the cube, which will be projected on, and then creating an icosphere. I will hire the subdivisions to 4, basically scaling it up. When I press, when you go to the edit mode and enable normals, you can see that the normals are pointing outwards. So we don't want to do this because we want the circle to be visible from the inner side, so we can paint on the inner side. So I will just type here flip normals, okay, and then just if you go to front view and you select this edge here in the middle, then you can mark a seam. Okay, normals are okay, so I will hide it. I will split the view and go to UV image editor. So I select everything and then press U for unwrapping. Oh, that's not what I wanted, so let's create a texture for it first. So Skybox paint, and the resolution of the image, I do want to have the 2 circles above each other, so my dimensions will be 1 by 2. So let's say I will put here 2048 by 3096, I believe. Yeah, okay. And again press U to unwrap, and you can see, so it is correctly unwrapped. Right now I will save the image and go here, Skybox, painting, and you should remember when you are saving the scene like this, your image won't be saved here, because we will be painting on this image, on this sphere from the inside. This painting won't be saved, so it's good practice to save your image a lot, because when your because if your Blender crashes or you just close it, it won't be saved automatically. So keep that in mind when you are working here. I will create a new material here for the icosphere like this, and I will put image or movie here, and the texture will be Skybox paint and coordinates will be UV like this. Okay, So the camera, you can't delete the camera, still we won't be using it, but you can't delete it because it is needed here to the scene to be rendered out. I will turn off the shading because we don't need a shading here, and I will quickly create the environment map for the cube. So environment map, okay, viewport will be cube, resolution 2048, static image, save. And now when I go to texture mode, here the display, where it is, let me hide this screencast key. Here under the display I've got shading set to multi-texture, and I'm still working in Blender game engine, Blender internal engine, excuse me, because when I switch to cycles it won't show up every material settings you need for the environment map and stuff like that. So now when you switch your mode to the texture painting, just test it up, you can see we are actually painting here on the cube, on the icosphere. The cube I will move to layer 2 because we don't need it for the time being, and I will just get rid of the grid because it is quite annoying to watch the grid all the time. And I will leave these two lines for the axis to know where the exact center of the circle is, or of the sphere is. And it's really important to know again, if you are painting here in the mid, almost in the mid. If I go the other way, like this, you can see I'm starting to paint on the second half. And it's really important to know that when you are getting closer and closer here to the edge, like this, it won't display properly. You can see here's a lot of distortion because angle you are viewing these faces here down is really sharp. Basically it's 90 degree almost, so these faces here are thin, so it can be projected very well. It's good practice is keeping the cross somewhere and painting over the cross like this. So I believe this is almost everything from the basics you should know, or you should be aware. So let's do it. So let me show you how do I paint nebulas. So the first thing, I will switch my color to something like bluish, like this. I am keeping my alpha here overlay to 1%. I will enable the texture, and I will split the view again here and move here, so I have this image menu available, and here I will have properties, yeah, then switching to textures, and here switching to brush to see settings of my clouds brush. As you can see right now I'm starting to paint clouds, so you can adjust the size. You can have very small clouds. I usually go 0.15. You can increase the depth, and you can just tweak the settings here. Another thing good to know is if you scale your brush up, and I'm pressing F to scale it up, you will paint much bigger clouds when you are zoomed out. If you zoom in and keep the brush size the same, you can see the clouds texture is being projected really small. So first I will lay off a few spots of basic color I do want to use. Again, I'm just trying to click on the center as much as possible to not get the problems with the edges, and I'm just basically switching between two colors. First I will paint the color I want, and then I will switch back to black color, and I'm painting out the skies to create nice gradients or shades if you want. Yeah, then you can go back up to your original blue color. You can start tweaking your color and getting few interesting differences in the color, like this. Again, switching back to black to create more interesting shapes, like this. I will erase it here and here, and you can mix different colors completely and out. So I will choose slightly orangey color here, and I will start adding on the other side orange color. Just watch out for the distortions on the edges. It's pretty important, because otherwise it would look really fake, and you don't wanna have a completely fake skybox. So here's the interesting part, and I do want to get my colors together. I can lower the strength here, so by lowering the opacity I can slowly start create gradient transition between these two clouds. And just back again, switching to black. Another thing you can do is you can play with your curve. You can see I'm using the default one here. When you use spherical like this, then I'll just bump up the strength for you to be able to see. You can see this strong fall here is causing this circle here to appear, and that's basically what you don't want to have. So much better option is something like this, when you have strong point in the middle and it's fading out really slowly by the high slope. Okay, so just painting out the skies again. I will just switch it back here, and I will tweak the color a little bit, put down the strength, and I will switch the clouds here, the bases, from Blender Original to, let's say, Perlin. Perlin looks quite the same. Oh, that's too yellowish. I do want to have stronger color here. It's almost the same, but you can just play with the settings here. For example, interesting is Voronoi one. If I zoom it, you can see the texture is looking quite interesting here. So you can slowly start painting the gradient here, add more and more color here and there. And maybe you'll be able to create an interesting effect here. And you paint it out again. This could be quite interesting looking. I don't know, I'm just experimenting. It's up to you to throw the time in. And play around these settings there. Here, a little bit of interesting shapes. Just go back down. And change the floor here. And bump out the strength again. Like this. Go to completely black. That was the reason why it wasn't working for me. And here paint this out again. Go back to the almost full color like this, and let's try Voronoi 2. Scale it up again. Oh, these clouds look interesting, like orangey colors here. I'll zoom out again and just add some basic color. You can see it's the more you zoom out, the more work it has to do to count it well, so it takes more time after you click. But I believe this color is looking okay. Voronoi 2, it looks really nice, so I will split it up a little bit like this, and you can go back to the blue one. Some base color here. Strength is too much. I'll lower it down a little bit like this. Okay. So I will go slightly here more to the blue and just painting the skies here again. You can adjust the size if you want. 0.5. Zoom in. Add a little detail here and there. And use black again. Erase the clouds a little bit, make little holes there, make it a bit more interesting to watch. Oh, it's a circle there. I don't want to have a circle here like this. I certainly do have some here and there. So I can break up the texture like this. And this is basically your layer 1. I will just say this will be finished. This is like your layer 1 you will have here. I will name it layer 0, and anything you put in the scene will be rendered out. So if you do want to add for example little planets or asteroids, you are free to do it, and after that you can just select again your cube, go here to the texture, clear it out, and then press F12 to render this out. You can see Skybox is being rendered. Okay, this should be done. So save environment map. Let's call it Skybox finish. Okay, saving takes a lot of time here. Come on, save it out. Save it. Oh, nice, awesome. You can see this is our texture on our Skybox here, and you can open the image, Skybox finish, and you can see 6 cubes here. So you can then slice them up and use it in Unity or anything you want to use. And another thing, let's add the stars here. So I will create a copy, Shift D to duplicate. I will scale it down a little bit. I will go here to material. I will delete this one, and I will call this layer 1 stars. Okay, no texture there, everything is okay. So let's go to the particles. Let's create new particle system. I will keep the emission here on, let's say 2000 for now. I do want to emit from frame 1 ending by frame 200, but the lifetime will be something ridiculous. It doesn't matter, and I do want to show here underneath render the unborn particles. You can see these are our stars. So changing the render material here to billboard, and the billboard object here will be the cube. That means that each of these little particles, let me just size it up, is now a little square, and all the squares here are facing inside on the cube. So basically you do have a lot of planes here which will be showing to you, and we don't want to render an emitter. Yeah, so I'll just select my Skybox and move it to layer 2. I'll go back to layer 1, and I will Ctrl Alt number pad 0 to create to position our camera, render it out, and just now you can see we do have a black images here because we don't have assigned any material here. Underneath the render settings here we just we do have the material set to 1, so the first material will be used. I will select shadeless because we don't want any shading here, and on each of these squares we will put our texture of a little star. So basically from the material go to textures, add a new image, image or movie, and open up. Is somewhere here I should have little stars. So let's try to use this star here and change the mapping coordinates to UV. And when I press F12, you can see there is a little star. Okay, that's working nice. So enable the transparency, leave it on Z transparency and turn the alpha down to 0. Switch back to the texture, and underneath influence here you can set up the alpha here to 1. And if I press F12 again, you can see the texture is here. One interesting thing to notice here, the texture is being rendered now because this object here does have underneath here, underneath the data, you've got a UV map. It doesn't matter if it's unwrapped or not, but if you create an icosphere from scratch without any UV map and add a particle system as a billboard, you will see the white squares instead of your texture. That's of course because you don't have UV map set on your object, on your icosphere. So it's quite good to know. And as you can see, the textures or the little stars are too big, so I will bump up the size down to, let's say, 0.13. It's quite okay, and I will change the random size to 1. So each star is a little bit different, and as you can figure out, you can put as many globes here or spheres here and as many particles you want. I will just show you one quick tip. You can paint your wave here. Wave 1, okay, and it's not visible because we probably should flip the normals back. Yep. Oh, now it's visible. Okay, nice. So if you paint your wave map here this way, I'll change the strength here. Then you can set basically a map of a density of your stars you will be projecting here, and the settings is here on bottom, and you can choose field weights. No, that's not it. Vertex groups, yes, density, and select this group here, and you can see the stars are being thrown the most on the red one, a little bit less on the green one, and on the blue areas here you can see there is no stars at all. So I will just change up the settings here again. I'll go to 100 is maybe, I don't know, yeah, let's leave it for 200. Let's pretend in later time we will add a little bit more stars. I have in my final demo, I believe I used 3 layers of stars like this, and if I go here again to object mode, I'll switch it back with my layer 2. I will select the cube again, go to the texture, and clear the environment map and press F12. Then you can see the stars are being added here in the scene. And let me just create another layer of the skies just quickly. I will paint the wave a little bit more different here, or maybe I will just rotate the sphere around anyway. I'll go to the particle or material here, press this little tool to create a unique material again, and here I will set the texture from star 3 to, let's say, star 2. Okay, I'll go back again here, bump up the number to say 700 to have more of them, lower the size to, let's say, 0.8, 0.08, excuse me, and I press F12. It's barely noticeable, so I will do 0.1 probably. Yeah, I'll paint a little bit more. And go to object mode, test it out, F12, it's barely noticeable, but it doesn't matter right now. And again, selecting our cube here, going to the texture, clear, render out. Oh, nice little stars there. And save environment map, Skybox finish. Okay. So let me pause for a while, and I will slice up the images and I will show you how to create a project in Unity with your Skybox. So here is Unity with completely blank project. I've imported nothing right now. I will certainly use these 2 textures or 6 textures, so I will copy them and here put it here into your assets. As you can see, the assets are importing here quite well, and for the main camera you do want to add a Skybox component. So underneath rendering you can select Skybox. Nice. The Skybox does need a custom Skybox material, which we haven't created yet. So by right clicking, select create material, let's call it Skybox, and the shader will be render fx Skybox. And here you can see you have 6 slots for your 6 textures, so I will quickly add them. The front one, back one, left, right, up and down. And here you can see strange little looking sphere, but never mind. I will select the camera, material, and set it to Skybox, and you can see when you press play, the Skybox is already here in the game, but you can't move or do anything here. So one simple thing is by right clicking here, import the package and choose character controller. And for the settings here you don't need everything, you just need one script here called mouse look C#. It's C# file, so import, and you can select the camera and add the mouse look script here. And now when you press play, you can see the Skybox is already here in the place, and you can look around with your mouse. You can notice here these edges are the corners of the Skybox itself, and this is caused because the texture is repeating. So the quick way how to fix it is go through each texture here, and it's caused by the wrap mode here, By default it's set to repeat, and you do have to set it up to clamp. So I will go through every one of them, set it to clamp, apply, OK, down, front, apply, right, clamp, apply, clamp, apply, OK. And now when you press play, you have nice hand drawn skybox completely made in Blender. So hopefully you've learned something, and if you have any question, guys, please leave a comment. I will be glad to answer you. And the textures as well as the finished project, it will be downloadable on my blog page. So check it out, and thank you for watching, and see you next time.